Ready? I'm going to teach you now about the letter K and what it means in graphology and how it represents our human mindset on the piece of paper. The letter K represents a thought that has added creativity and intuition. The letter K represents that activity that you can do in a slightly more creative manner. That little extra, that little creativeness, is it understood by people? Is it known in your mind as it is known in somebody else's mind? Are you able to transfer your thoughts, your activities in the exact way as you see it in your mind to somebody else? Let's check that out in the letter K. Alright, so here are a couple of formations of letter K that I'm going to explain to you today. The first letter K is showing you the directions of stroke, and this is how normally a person writes the letter. The downward stroke is there, then there is an angle being formed. Now there are two components which we need to keep in mind. First is vertical line and then this angle. This angle can be found in mathematics also known as a lesser sign. So if you have a problem which is like 5 and 3, then you put the lesser sign in between and then you come to know that 3 is lesser than 5. So that symbol is used also in the letter K. If the angle and the line just touch each other, okay, there's just a touch, that means that the person's creativity or whatever he's trying to do in a new way has been understood clearly and it is appropriate. If the person has a gap between the letter vertical line and the letter angle, then it will have a confusing effect where the person is not able to relate to what you have done. If by chance the person has done something creative, but he is trying to explain to you or trying to convince you about what he's done, then this sort of a formation comes up. Let's take an example. I have made tomato soup for you, and I have tried out a brand new recipe, and I wanted to add my own style into making tomato soup. When I serve the tomato soup to you, if you are able to relate to what I have described, I have told you, here you go, have some soup, and then you have a sip of it and you tell me it's tomato soup. That means whatever I have tried to be creative in or whatever I have tried to do in a new way, you are able to relate to it directly. But after serving the soup to you, you ask me what kind of soup it is. I am not able to get that flavor correctly. This means that I have tried to make the tomato soup, but you are not able to relate to it directly. The creativity has not been understood. In this scenario, what happens is I'm motivating you, I'm coaxing you to understand what it is without telling you directly that it is tomato soup. I'm trying to make you remember or trying to uh, almost influence you to like my creativity. Now, this happens normally when you're trying to sell a product or you're trying to sell a service that is not very well known, and you have to be a little influential, you have to be a little persuasive to make the person understand what you're trying to do. Let's say you go out with your spouse or you go out with your girlfriend, boyfriend in a relationship, and you have gone out for a candlelight dinner. Now, if the person is chilled out and he's understanding what you're trying to do or she's understanding what you're trying to do, then they'll understand that okay, he is trying to make a normal dinner slightly creative by putting candlelight, a few roses, and that makes it creative. That girl or that boy or the person in front of you is able to relate to what you're trying to do, and there's a harmony in the way the creativity is expressed. Let's say in another scenario, if the person is not really close to you yet, if you are still in the friend zone or you've had a bit of a quarrel with your spouse and then you take them to a candlelight dinner, and they don't understand why you're being nice to them or why you're being suddenly so sweet. Then this could also happen in your handwriting where you're trying to do something creative but it's not able to relate correctly in the person's mind. If you're trying to be suggestive about the theme of the dinner, then this sort of a formation comes where you're trying to persuade the person to feel a certain emotion or feel a certain experience out of the creativity that you are expressing. So these people are able to express creativity in a correct manner. These people's creativity is not understood correctly, and these people are very influential or persuasive about the creativity they're trying to express. If you're a student who's studying and he's wanting to perform well in his exams, or you have some practical paper coming up and you want to perform the experiment in a good way but in your own style, you want to put some creativity. Let's say you're doing a chemical experiment, or you're doing a drawing exam, or you're doing a mechanical engineering practical. Whatever the situation be, if your creativity or you're trying to do something new, if the professor or the teacher who's going to check your performance is able to relate to your creativity, then this is a formation that comes up in the handwriting. If you perform some creative activities and you try to do something new but people are not able to relate to it, then this is what happens. If you're trying to convince somebody or trying to influence somebody about what you've done, then this sort of formation comes. This is a bit of a desperate formation where the person is not confident enough of his creativity, therefore he has to put that added effort or added explanation of what they're trying to do. Now this K over here, it looks like a capital K but it is actually a small k, just that this angle has become larger. The problem with this is that it looks like a capital K. Now when we go to capitals, I'll be explaining this in detail, but just to give you a short view about this, capitals invoke a starting energy. Let's say you started a brand new business or you started a brand new shop, you bought a brand new home. On the first day of the business, on the first day of the home, you are going to have a slight celebration, slight prayer meeting, or you just want to have something different. You want the energies of that place to be good. So that starting energies are there in capitals. Now when a person is writing a normal word which has small letters and suddenly he puts a capital letter in that, he has a desire to have those starting energies in a normal word. So let's say the person is writing, I am keeping a chalk in my hand, and he is writing the word K in this entire sentence as a capital. All the other letters are small, but he is writing the sentence as a capital. This means that the person is wanting a starting energy. He wants to feel that new feeling in between the work. Let me give you an example. I have written the word chalk over here, and I have written the K as a capital. I have written the word key over here, and I've written the letter K as a capital. Now remember, if this was the first letter or the first word of a sentence, then K is naturally going to be capital. But in middle of a sentence, I have a key, and you write the K like this, it shows that you want a starting energy. When this person wants to express some creativity and he writes the letter K like this, it shows that between the work process, he would like to have a enthusiasm kick, or he wants to be motivated suddenly to do something new and fresh. So these people are not able to maintain momentum of work very well, and they keep on looking out for motivational influences, or they want to have some external source of push or motivation to help them keep on going. Now the next letter K, this one has a loop instead of an angle. The loop makes things quite complicated. You see over here what happened? The letter K has got two crossovers. Over here the person has got 1, 2 and 3 crossovers. The more number of crossovers that come in your handwriting, the more number of confusions take place. Yes, there are certain letters that require crossovers, but if you can write a letter without the crossover, then it shows that when these things happen, one, two, three, and a loop, this means that the person is confused about how he's supposed to express his creativity. This means that he's trying to do something new, but that creativity is horribly messed up, or it's going to be so badly presented that it's going to lead to a confusion rather than an understanding. If I had this handwriting and I served tomato soup to you, you would have no clue what this soup would be unless I told you. If I was getting my car repainted and I got it painted in a jazzy color with stripes and checks all over, where the creativity is not really appropriate or it's not really understood. Yes, you can do creativity of such sorts maybe on a canvas or a chart paper, but on a car it looks odd. So wherever the creativity looks odd or confusing, this is a sort of a letter K that comes up in a handwriting. It looks very different than this. Now let's go to this last formation where the K has got a retrace and it comes out. Now remember when I told you that K relates to intuition or intuitive thinking and creativity? The intuitiveness comes up when the person is trying to put the letter formation like this. He lifts up the pen and instinctively comes to the point where he has to start writing downwards. Wherever he is trying to do that, there's a lift in the pen while he's doing that. But in this formation, the pen is not being lifted. He is coming to this point, and instead of lifting the pen and going here, he is going back on the same line and then coming outwards. This means that the person has sacrificed intuitivity for experience. This person's creativity is really good, but it is highly depending on his experience. If by chance you are in a new job and you're trying to do your work in a new creative manner, if you have this handwriting, even without experience, you will try to do something new and people will be able to relate to that. But this person would wait for some time, gain some experience, gain some knowledge, gain some teachings from other people, and with that reference, this retrace, will the person use the creativity to do something new. Now we've learnt about the letter formations of letter K, and just to revise, this person's creativity or whatever he's trying to do something new is original, genuine, and people understand it. This person, yes, it is original, it is new, but there's a lack of understanding, and these people's creativity is normally misunderstood, or you're not able to relate to it at all. This one is where the person is trying to convince you that his creativity works, it is relating to the topic, and there's a convincing, influential mindset here. Over here, where the person is writing a capital letter, he wants to have that starting energy, he wants to have that enthusiastic push whenever he's trying to do something new. So, unless he gets an external source of motivation, these people are finding it very difficult to do new things on their own. This sort of a letter formation leads to a confusion rather than creativity. The person is putting too many spices into the food and he messes the whole flavor of the food in the effort of doing something new. The last letter K is where the person is using a reference or an experience. The stroke of the letter comes down and goes back on the same line and comes out. He uses a reference or a experience to express creativity rather than an intuitive thinking. Check out your handwriting and see which letter K comes in your script and understand your mindset a bit better. Okay, so today we learned about the letter K, and I want you to just have a look at people's handwritings, your relatives, your friends, your own handwriting, and have a clue about how they express their creativity and their intuitive knowledge when they want to do something in a new way. The design of this video is so that you can watch them even when you're traveling, even if your network is not very good, at the lowest resolution, also at 144 resolution that is there on YouTube, you can still watch these videos and learn something new. So if you're chilling out at home, relaxing, or you're traveling somewhere in the bus, you're on the beach somewhere, you got nothing to do, you just want to chill out, watch something, and why not learn something new? These videos have been designed so that you can have the least amount of network speed, you can have the least amount of resolution and still learn something new. Also, if you these videos are free of cost. I want you to absolutely enjoy the knowledge, watch it over and over again. If you have some queries, if you practice something that you learned here and you got some problems, type it down in the comments below and I would be most happy to help you out. On facebook.com/graphologic, I have received tons of feedback in terms of how letter formations look, and people have sent their own letter formations, and I'm really excited to respond back. So please do connect with me, show me the peculiarities of your handwriting, and let's see your mindset, how it represents itself on the piece of paper. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.